Hello there guys, it's Joey and this is a requested spell set for the goddess Kuan Yin. I think I'm pronouncing it right, I'm sure someone will correct me if not. Okay, so it was requested that I create specific items for I believe it's a Chinese goddess, but she transcends that. She appears in Buddhism, and there is a long lineage and a long discussion of origin. And as I was working through themes for this particular energy, I got a very strong sense of one of the ingredients to use. And that doesn't often happen. Like, sometimes it does, that I know at the fore of my mind that one thing absolutely must be included. But this actually worked, that I was working through ideas and things, and I kept getting this in my head, like, put this in, put this in, put this in. And I went and sort of researched that, and it came more that this was something that was around her temples than it was naturally associated. You know how a lot of people associate certain flowers and certain herbs with particular goddesses. Well, this particular one seemed to be more in the physical space of her altar than it was necessarily what people included within herbalists or whatever you like. And I really liked this idea, and as this energy came through, it basically tied an idea into what I wanted to celebrate with regards to Kuan Yin. So she's a goddess of mercy and compassion. She protects the helpless and hears the cries of the world. She loves all humanity, all animals. She protects all from attack. She carries the healing water, the water of life, and has a deep spiritual essence and a love for the world. She's very much a mother to humanity figure, and is peaceful but strong at the same time. And as I was working through this energy, the healing water, the water of life, really came into this energy, as you can probably tell. But it had to have these other items in it that really, at first I was like, how do I correlate this energy with a water energy? And I was sat going through it, and basically what it is the idea of worship at the temple and offerings in water, and that the visual almost looks like a Chinese garden where you have water, and water makes up the feng shui of the garden. It's all very set out on purpose. There's certain offerings perhaps in the water, there are perhaps candles in the water. It's to do with that connectivity with water, and water being the lifeblood of the world as well as humanity. It's the deep healer, and it really did connect through that sort of energy, that water is something which binds all of us, human beings, animals, plant life, and the whole of the earth together in a form of sympathetic magic that bind us all together through the essence that is water. And that sort of flows and creates this very peaceful atmosphere. It almost brings to mind sort of water fountains to do with Chinese gardens that are deeply meditative, and you can sit and you can listen to them as a point of meditation. And it really did revolve around this idea of worshipping Kuan Yin in a setting that really connected to that deep underlying spirituality. So we'll go through all the items one by one, and I think we'll start actually with the herbal blend, which is actually a salt. It's a blessing salt, but contains Epsom salts, so it can be used in the bath if so desired. I felt very strongly about creating, again, this is the second time that this happened, rather than have a herbal blend that you can burn, for it to be associated with the water. And you can use this as a bathing salt, like I said, but I really feel that the strength of this particular blend is if you had a bowl of water in front of the Kuan Yin altar, and it would be sprinkled in a manner within the water and blessed and given as an offering that way. I had this very strong visualization of that being the case. So there you go, you can see inside it. And it's interesting to me that it almost looks like a Chinese pattern within fabric, within the interweaving of mythos that gets interwoven with a lot of Oriental style fabric. And I think when you sit here and you look at it, you can almost see like cranes, or you could see koi moving through the water. Tends to be a little bit more Japanese, I think, but there is heavy borrowing in the Japanese mythos from the Chinese, so you can see animals moving through it almost in the shapes and things that take shape even just looking at the blessing salt. And I'm going to shake up the oil so you can see. There is a definite quality of an uplifting energy here. It has this deeply meditative vibe. The whole of the set feels deeply meditative, but it is this underlying uplift of energy. It's this very gentle, very calm, very peaceful energy, and it's really interesting to me because it's completely different from what I regularly interact with regards to gods and goddess energies. But it's almost like a stillness, like listening to water and this very still meditative vibe, and almost like listening to drops of water falling into other drops of water. It's very peaceful. So then we have the spell cauldron, and I wanted the spell cauldron very much to look as if you were looking into this meditative pool, if you were in a Chinese garden, or you're looking into the offering bowl for Kuan Yin, and there are things placed in there, and it's very much about the essence of water, of healing, of moving through into another realm of existence, into spirituality, into meditation. I really wanted these spirals and the swirls to be very prominent within the spell cauldron. The spirals felt very important for a number of reasons. One, they also remind me a little bit of papyrus, like wrapped up scrolls, and she is associated with learning, which I kind of like that kind of tweak into it. But the spirals are very much about that fluidity, that motion. They often represent the spirals and the cycles of life in other mythos, and you can see that within Chinese law as well, of course, within your yin yang symbols and everything swirling and interweaving. It also talks about a fluidity of motion, a fluidity of movement, that deep spirituality coming in, that healing. And last but not least is the spell orb. And we went with, again, this lovely, deep, soothing green. And there was a lot of greens actually come into this. This looks almost like flowing water, like a river or a set up in a water garden style moving through. I really like it. And then I went with a key for her charm to unlock one's highest potential, to be the best version of ourselves that we can be, to unlock our merciful selves and so forth. And crystals and spell scrolls and all that beautiful stuff is in there. Again, you can see the spirals and the twists within. Okie dokie, so this is a requested spell set for the goddess Kuan Yin. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And I hope you like it. Many blessings.